Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this X39 presentation on this miraculous patch that is changing lives around the world. I do thank the person who invited you to take a look at this. And so you're going to find yourself being one of three people tonight. And at the end of this presentation, if you're in bucket number three, if you will, you'll be someone who says, "Hey, I like what I see, but I want to do more research." Hey, we totally get it. Or you may be in bucket number two. I like what I see and I want to get some patches for me and my family. We can show you how to do that. You'll get back with the person who invited you and they'll help make that happen for you. And then, or you may be in number one. You may say, "Hey, man, I'm really excited about where this company is going and what it's doing to change lives around the world. An amazing, rewarding compensation program offered for those who share it, not sell it." We can get into that. So it's pretty spectacular. So that's what you'll find yourself being. Just get back with the person and let them know who invited you, which one you are. And we'll go from there. But once again, my name is Ken Burke, and currently I'm in Trinity, Florida, very spiritual town. It's in the Tampa Bay area and near the Clearwater Tarpon Springs area. And my wife and I have been married over 33 years. We have five awesome children, four married, all of them out the door, and now 10 grandbabies. And thank God for this little patch because it's so easy to get on the floor with them now, go on planes, put luggage overhead, have energy, youthfulness, vitality. I mean, it's definitely a quality of life maker, if you will, from a sticker of all things. Can you believe this? Well, we're going to unpack what this patch is and who created it and who this company is and where this thing is going, testimonies on it, so you can have hopefully a better educated decision on what you would like to do from this presentation tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you with a presentation that's shown really worldwide with this company, which is now, our team is now in basically 80 countries. So it makes it easy for you to hopefully, get all your questions answered before you even ask them. So give me a second here and I'll get my screen shared. We'll run from there. One more thing. Good. Okay. Well, the question we like to ask, hey, have you been patched yet? And if you haven't, then you're going to want to get patched, hopefully, after you see this presentation, get back with the person. And because it is actually spectacular. What's going to happen when you put this patch on, it's going to elevate inside of you this amazing peptide. And when it does, it then activates the brain's ability to say, "Hey, I'm going to start turning on all your dormant stem cells and a whole lot more things." And so now your body's going to regenerate. And that's in part what's going to happen. But first, we want to give credit where credit is due. And that's what this amazing gentleman here, his name is David Schmidt. He is the CEO, the inventor of this amazing patch. And he started 21 years ago with the Navy SEALs. And by the way, he has actually over 200 patents. We're going to upgrade this screen. 200 patents. I mean, do you know anybody who's got two patents or one? 200. And so to his name and credibility, 80 of them in the area of age reversal patents. That's pretty powerful. When the government says, "Oh, really? You can do that? Okay, we'll bless that. We got it." And so it's pretty amazing. But so he started 21 years ago with the Navy SEALs. They hired him to figure out a way to keep these gentlemen at the time awake underneath the water 18 hours or more in these specialized mini submarines. And David has a strong faith in God, and he'll tell you firsthand that he believes that no one creates, only God creates, and he believes that God gives him insights on how to do things. Well, he came up with this two-patch system, is two patches like this. And back in the day, there were energy patches that worked off light in the body and leveraging the fat cells in the body to create energy, and it worked, which led to the Berkeley women's swim team finding out about this. They began to wear the patches, and boom, they began to best their times. That led to Michael Phelps during the Olympics wearing these two-patch energy system because this is Olympic approved technology. It's safe. Nothing's going into the body. I'll explain that in a minute. And but then what happened is David started getting notoriety, started creating other patches. He's an inventor. And then in 2008, he turned his attention to stem cells. And because stem cells are the holy grail of healing. Okay? And why is that? Because a stem cell can morph into any cell the brain tells it. And so he wanted to figure out a way to be able to capture those things and enable the brain to be able to use those things inside of us. And over 10 years, 80 clinical trials, figured it out, dumped all that into a massive patent. So the United States government put their stamp of approval on that. And that got done in 2020, basically 2019 and 2020. This company launched this X39 patch. The number 39, because this is the 39th patch he actually invented, believe it or not. And ironically, there's 39 categories of disease, and Jesus took 39 stripes to be healed, heal us. And so we think it's a pretty little amazing coincidence with this patch. But this X39 patch released in 2020 during COVID. At the time, the company was doing 20 million a year after 15 years of having these other patches. But then this Mac Daddy patch gets released, and boom, the company shoots like a rocket with no advertising, no social media, all word of mouth, and goes from like 20 million to 80, and then quarter billion. And they did 600 million last year from 2020 to 2024, on their way this year to hit a billion. 86% of all those sales are coming from this little patch right here, and which is amazing. This company now is one of the fastest growing companies in this space of 560 relational marketing companies. Think of eXp Realty and Ameriprise and Mary Kay, trusted companies of great integrity. So is this one too. And in that space, the last 2 years running, we have the greatest amount of momentum, according to an amazing company that puts out a Bravo Award, and we've won that twice. And so its company's growing. And why? Because people who are not salespeople, I'm a gifted salesperson, but people who are not salespeople are calling their friends, calling their family, not to sell them something. They're calling because they believe they've found something that is bringing them amazing hope, all from this patch. And we're going to teach you a little bit more on that in a minute. But let's talk about this patent because it's so awesome to take a look at this thing. It's a 31-page patent. The patent is good till 2040. So no one in the world has this technology. We're the only company in the world and we make the patch. It's not shipped out overseas to make. We actually make the patch, and made in San Diego and also in Ireland, but all under our company, guys. Headquarters now has been moved to Utah, but they're manufactured. And so it's super, super high quality. Anyways, and so check out what happens here inside this patent. It states what this thing is doing. It says, as the embodiments of a result of elevating this peptide I talked about, it's going to activate stem cells. It's going to improve energy. It's going to elevate antioxidants. It's going to manage pain. It's going to improve stamina. And it's elevate collagen production and improve wound healing, just to name a few. So, and bear with me one second. I've got to get some lights on in here. Hold on. Forgive me. And so this is all inside the patent. So the government put their stamp of approval from the 80 clinical trials and studies, poured into this 31-page patent. And so we have this boom, this seal of approval to say, hey, this thing does what we say it does. It's spectacular. And so here's the story. The story is, when you and I were first in the womb, the very first cell we were was a stem cell. And then that morphed into every cell we now are. But then you were given a reserve of stem cells for healing, repair, and restoration throughout the whole body, in your brain, your bones, your organs, everywhere throughout the body. But the challenge is, by the time you're 60, almost all of them are dormant, 90% of them. So think about this. When you're 8 years old, you break a bone. The brain says, oh, I'm going to send stem cells there, and they morph into bone, marrow, tissue, ligament, joint, whatever. Because the stem cell can change into any cell the brain tells it. Well, by the time you're 30, half of that stem cell activity is now dormant. What's interesting, I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry at a closed-door compounding pharmacy, and I never had any physician tell me that I've got dormant stem cells. And so it's amazing that everybody around the whole wide world has their stem cells. As they're aging, they're going dormant. And clinically, the less stem cell activity you have, the faster you age, the slower you heal. So when you're 80 years old and you break a bone, guess what doesn't happen? Yeah, healing that you need. And I don't know what the statistic is, but it's a big number that within 12 to 18 months, most people at north of the age of, I don't know, 65 or 70, once they break their hip, they pass away within just less than a year and a half later. And so it's powerful what healing and rejuvenation availability we have through stem cells can do. And now, because we have a patch, we have the ability to turn them back on naturally using light in the body. So what are you talking about, Ken? Well, here's how this thing works. This thing works through a proprietary form of phototherapy. That's light therapy, not light that's coming from the sun that hits your skin and then your body starts elevating vitamin D. No, this is light that's coming out of you, infrared light. If you went into a dark room with a bunch of people and put some infrared goggles on, you could see them. Why? Because all of us emit infrared light 24/7. Well, that light has a mathematical frequency to it. And in that mathematical frequency then bounces off this patch. And what's inside the patch? Well, it's a patented microscopic, meaning nano crystal technology of, like amino acids and crystals from organic plants, little sugars and salts that are arrayed in such a way that emit another frequency back. So then that frequency works with the light in the body to elevate this amazing peptide. And when it does, it signals the brain then to begin to turn on our dormant stem cells additionally. So it's using light from inside the body. You can be in a pitch black room, it doesn't matter, to activate this process. Absolutely spectacular when you think about it, because it's not transdermal. There's no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants, nothing in the patch going into my body. There's no stem cells in this patch, right? The stem cells are already inside me and you. They're just basically dormant, depending on your age, until now. And I'm not injecting my own stem cells back inside of me by having my blood spun and a PRP inside me, or I'm not injecting someone else's stem cells inside me also. This is better. I'm actually allowing my body to begin to turn on its own stem cells. The brain knows what's going on. Now it can do that. It's amazing. So what can you expect? Well, you can expect what you see here based on the clinical trials and studies all buried inside this patent. You're going to get stronger. Your inflammation, well, anything with the word itis behind it, arthritis, tendonitis, it comes from what? It comes from inflammation. And so now begin to reduce that, begin to bring some relief, increase stamina, energy, vitality, mental clarity. And I'll just start in with part of my story here is when we got introduced to this amazing patch 2.5 years ago, our dear friend Joyce Johnson and her husband, who are both retired IRS agents and CPAs. Well, Joyce had been in a car accident back in 2019, and twice she got rear-ended, no fault of hers. Well, the doctor said, you've got to get these discs put in your neck. 4 titanium discs they put in her neck. And from that point on, she had throat swallowing issues. She had physical pain issues after that. And then until she got this patch, which basically almost immediately within a days began to clear up all that pain. And she called us up all excited, telling my wife and I about how this cleared up the pain. And we knew Joyce for 15 years prior. Her daughter went to school with us. We knew them very well. We drive Joyce around when there are days where she was having off days after having this surgery because of the pain she was in. And now to have her call and say, hey, I'm not having the pain I'm under anymore. And so that inspired me to want to get some of these patches. And I did. I bought the biggest batch I could get to get them on my family and friends. And that's what I did. I mailed them out to my kids. I just called the people that are closest to me and said, listen, I found these patches. They're completely safe. I'm going to mail you a few of them. Just put them on you and tell me what happens. And because I have no idea what's going to happen for you, but you tell me. Well, within 2.5 weeks for me, the stress I was running my 15 to sometimes 18-man advertising company over 10 years, and I couldn't find really good sales reps. So even though I built the backside of the business to be able to, we had 3 magazines go to press every month. A lot of work, and I had over 180 small businesses advertising with us, but I couldn't find good reps. So I'd have to get back out and continue to sell ads. I was under a lot of pressure. And in 2.5 weeks, all that pressure went from, after 10 years, went from about 85% down to about 15%. And to this day, that never really came back. My pressure now is just minimal. And I get this gift I never had before called living in the present. Had no idea that was going to do that for me. So mental clarity was spectacular. restored musculoskeletal condition. This is pretty amazing. I had one of my advertisers, Parkwood Dental down in Bradenton. They called me up a little while back and they said, "Hey, Ken, we had a patient come in. We couldn't put a post in the jaw because it was too brittle." But then 8 weeks later, we came back, we scanned the jaw again. It was solid enough to put a post in. We're like, "What did you do?" Nothing except this patch. So, think about it. As you're aging, your bones are slowly decaying. And between the fact that your collagen production is being elevated, and that's a whole nother dynamic that this patch is doing, where there's more collagen in your bones than there is calcium. So your bone density is going to get thicker. And that's what happened here. Plus, stem cells are now going to morph into bone, right? In restoration, now that you got the patch on. And they were able to put a post in the wall, and they were so amazed. They had to call me and tell me this. My neighbor, he in his mid 60s said, "Can I be seeing the same dentist for 20 years? I don't know if this is anecdotal or not, but my gums have been receding the whole time, but now they're filling back in." you know, it's pretty amazing. My wife was having 10 to 20 hot flashes a day when we started wearing the patch. And September 9th, 2022 was a Monday. It was a holiday. And I remember she said, "Ken, I think I only had one hot flash last night and I feel just different. I feel better." And those hot flashes came to almost a screeching halt. And not only that, but she had this flight or fight syndrome that now we understand was menopausal anxiety. Didn't know that's what it was at the time. And that went away. And my wife became confident again, like when she was a teenager. It was kind of crazy. "Yeah, I'll go zip line with you." "Really?" uh, you know, and and then months later, she had hip pains for years after giving birth to 5 children. And every night there'd be some kind of my hips hurt, this, that, and the other. And I remember it was probably 4 or 5 months in. I said, "Diana, whatever happened to the hip pain?" She goes, "You know what? I don't have that anymore." And so, pretty amazing and quality of life. And if you see my wife's hair now, she says, "Hey, I have my high school hair again." And she has blonde, thick, and so her hair literally, and we have other friends of ours whose women, their hair is thicker and longer. It's just amazing. And that's just a couple things. My daughter had given birth to her third child, and for months thereafter, she had all kinds of postpartum issues. She had postpartum hair loss, she had anxiety, she had just almost like depression, brain fog, all kinds of things. And the next day after we're in the past, she calls me up. She's in Louisiana. I'm in Tampa area. She says, "Dad, I can't believe this. I just cleaned all the drawers out in the girl's room and the closet too to make room for the baby, and my brain fog is gone." I'm like, and that was like a weekend, and I still haven't felt anything yet. I said, "That's pretty amazing, Brady. I don't feel anything yet." But it was so awesome to have that. And then her husband calls me, "Hey, Mr. Burke, I taught all day at the Coast Guard and 8 hours, and I was focused. Usually I'm not. Then I went and I mowed 4 yards, and usually I have hip pain, back pain, all kinds of pain. I didn't have any of that pain. And then I sat and ate with the girls at 7:30, and I was focused. I didn't feel like just getting up from the TV and we're getting up to watch TV." I said, "That's pretty amazing." And we began to get results. And then 5 weeks in, I had patched my dad. My dad was 280 pounds, one kidney, never took care of himself, right? One kidney, 12 medications. And during COVID, he actually got COVID. Before he got COVID, he could walk fine, whatever. After COVID, his lungs were now scarred. His head was down all day, had to have a walker to get 20 feet, had to sit back down. Quality of life was Zippo, right? And I said, "Dad, just put the sticker on." 5 weeks in, he calls me, "Ken, I can breathe again. Buy me a plane ticket, go see Brittany in Louisiana." I thought he's crazy because I'm like, "Dad, you cannot walk 20 feet with your walker. You're not going anywhere. Have a nice night." Click, And 6 weeks later, he's in an Uber on his own to Tampa International Airport, flies out to see Brittany and the great grandbabies. His lungs restored themselves. Absolutely blew my mind. And so I was super excited. And I was sharing with everybody. And that's the wonderful thing about this thing. It's like a good movie or a restaurant, unlike a side hustle. When you get excited about this, it's like that's what it's like. You go to the office, you still do your job, but then you tell at the end of a conversation, a client or a customer or employee or a vendor or whatever, "Hey, you've heard about this patch, right? Well, this is what it did for me. You'd like to learn more for you? I can show you how to learn more about it," that kind of thing. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But it was just spectacular to be able to begin to have this hope, this patch of hope, begin to bring blessing to my family. I mean, me being less stressed, I didn't realize what a jerk I was for so many years in our marriage. My wife is such a saint because I wasn't as nippy in little things and majoring these little things. I wasn't stressed like I was anymore. and just the quality of life in the marriage. I'm like, man, this is really a blessing. And I just have to give thanks to my wife, who's such a saint the whole time. Improve the skin appearance. It's amazing. So here's a session of a woman, 77 years of age. On the left, her brain is inflamed. So she has lack of brain coherence. And now, 3 weeks later, boom, her brain is in a normal state. And 3 weeks after that, it's sustained. We were listening to a neuropsychologist talk about how they usually spend months, if not a year, to try to get someone's brain calmed down to what this patch did in just 3 weeks. And furthermore, I want to talk about how wearing this patch helped his degenerative disc in the back of his back begin to grow again, which I thought was pretty amazing. In the first few days, additionally, the genes that make up who you are, about a third of them reset to a younger state. Resveratrol in red wine years ago got notoriety because it reset to your genes and said, oh, it's healthy for you. This resets 4,000, right, within the first few days. Within 6 weeks, as I mentioned, the brain becomes balanced clinically. So I call this thing a happy patch. If you know anybody with PTSD, teenagers going through all kinds of weird things, friends maybe going through a bad divorce, or just things that have life that people are getting beat up by, patch them. Let them run this thing out over a period of a few weeks and watch them begin to tell you, hey, you know what? I'm sleeping better. Hey, I just feel better. I'm just going through the grocery store, just feeling better. So I like to call this thing a happy patch. And your collagen, like I said, and within 90 days, the collagen in your body is going to refresh. So your skin, your hair, your nails, skin has become less wrinkled, more supple. Your hair is going to thicker, grow faster. I have to get my hair cut every 3 weeks now, and versus used to be 4 to 5. And my fingernails grow out faster. And I'm like, darn it, I got to cut these things again, toenails, And but it's pretty cool. I used to have grayer eyebrows. I don't. And so it's pretty spectacular. But this is really awesome. Within 6 months, your cardiovascular reverses in age by up to about 8 years. Now, they ran a small sampling of 15 people, 14 of them, that's what their experience was. And I had a friend of mine that got hit by a car, and but he was okay. But they did a full body scan at the hospital and said, "Oh, Mitch, we just discovered you have a stretched aorta, like 35%. Come back in 12 weeks. We're giving you bypass surgery." In the meantime, he starts wearing the patch for pain management, goes back to have the surgery pre-op. They scan him and say, "Hey, we can't explain this to you, but your heart's good." Boom. Well, later, Mitch and I were at an event listening to Dr. Adam Shiner. He's in Tampa. Look him up, Google him. He's been on Dr. Oz. He's world renowned for plastic surgery, but he makes his patients wear this patch 1 month prior to surgery because they heal so rapidly compared to those who don't. And we walked up to him, my friend said, "Hey, doc, this did this for my heart." And the doctor said, "Well, I can tell you why that is." And we're like, "Yeah, please do." He says, "Because your DNA is always talking to your brain." And the DNA said, "I made your heart to look like this, but now it looks like that." And the brain says, "Okay, I'll go ahead and fix it." I thought, wow, how powerful. That made a lot of sense. But here's the deal. The patch to get the patent was tested in 2 independent places at 2 different times, 2 inches below the belly button and 2 inches behind the back of the neck. Those are great meridians in the body, but the reality is this is light therapy. So you can wear it anywhere. As you see me, I'm wearing it here in my hand, anywhere in the body, because it's the brain that now is getting triggered to bring about the elevation of the peptide, the collagen production, and the reactivation of stem cells, and so much more. It's fascinating. So what you do is you put the patch on in the morning, like next to your toothbrush as a reminder, slap it on after dinner, take it off, throw it away. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, let the body rest, rejuvenate, heal, and then bam, put another one on again. You don't want to put it on all the time because your brain's going to go into more of a state of homeostasis. It needs to be triggered. And then also what's in here is organic material, and the heat from the body eventually is going to degrade it. So you don't want to continue to put the same patch on. And so what they do is they give you what they call a sleeve. It's an envelope with patches like this, where you have 30 inside of here. See this here. Sorry, everybody. Put that here. We have 30 patches inside this sleeve, and this is dated to like January 2027. I mean, that's a long time from now, year and a half, whatever. And I guess if you lose it and find again, it's still good a year later. But what you're going to do is you're going to open it up, and then inside of there is you have 30 patches. And you just pull one of those patches out, and you just unpeel the backing and you just slap it on wherever you want to place it. And typically I have my friends slap it on the back of their neck to begin, and then they can change it when they want. But 30 patches come in a sleeve like this, and we'll talk about the pricing of that in a minute. But it's pretty powerful, pretty amazing. And so the key is you want to drink a lot of water. When I mean a lot, you want to make sure there's electrolytes in the water, natural electrolytes, like a Celtic salt or Baja Gold is a great sea salt, if you will, because it has all the electrolytes in it and the trace minerals we need. Celtic salt is salt you can buy at any grocery store, CELTIC, and a quarter teaspoon in half a gallon or half a teaspoon in a whole gallon will give you all the trace minerals you need and all the electrolytes. The body runs on electricity. And so if you drink water all day long without them, then you're going to be flushing some of those electrolytes out. You don't want to do that. And you take your body weight divided by two. So say you're a man, you weigh 180 pounds. Well, that's divided by two be 90 ounces. And so 90 ounces is basically two-thirds of a gallon. 64 is half a gallon. 128 is a whole gallon. So 90 is kind of in the middle. So you get a gallon thing, fill it almost all the way up, put that salt in there. You're not even going to taste it. And then just drink that through the day. You're good to go. And if you exercise more, fill up, put a gallon there, right? So just that's a good standard to go by. And so, and if you're a woman, you weigh, whatever, 120, 60 ounces. That's basically a half a gallon because 64 ounces is a half a gallon. And just put a quarter teaspoon in that half a gallon and use that throughout the day. And that will optimize the restoration, repair, and healing that this is going to be happening inside your body thanks to this patch. So as you can see, this is a sophisticated device. It probably was the most prolific technologies on the planet today, unlike a pill or a needle. This is light therapy. Who would have thunk it? And the testimonies you had heard are just absolutely spectacular. Here's another one. So we have 10 grandchildren. And, sadly, we have this thing which I didn't have when I was a kid called autism. And we won't go down that path right now. Anyway, but one of our grandchildren is on the spectrum, the highest level, level 3, which is nonverbal, non-focus. And as a granddad, I got my shirt on here, right? One thing it's priceless to have my grandchildren come up to me or around the corner in the kitchen. They see me in the living room. Oh, granddad, G-dad, and their smiles light up. My whole world just melts, right? But then when you have one of them who doesn't even recognize you, if you picked her up and look straight at her, she'd kind of look right past you, not in nonverbal, not even talk to you. At 2.5 years of age, and that was a year ago. And my son called me February 10th, said, "Hey, Dad, Liliana, she's been crying for 4 days straight, even in her sleep." And it broke my heart. I said, "In her sleep?" I said, "We're going to do two things right now. One, we're going to pray in Jesus' name that God's going to bless her. And two, we're going to put that patch on her." And at the time, we weren't thinking about putting the patch on young children, but I had heard the most miraculous testimony from another distributor, a gentleman that I've gotten to know, who he's a granddad. Now, he got on the patch because he had to have a phlebotomy every month for 30 years. Every month had to have his blood changed out. Because if he didn't, it would turn to like a leukemia type situation. And he lost a couple friends like that. But the patch changed all that. And no longer does he have to have a phlebotomy. Well, his son had a daughter. And when she was born with her brain separated down the middle, but she could still cognitively function, which blew my mind. I didn't know it was possible. But she wasn't fully cognitively functioning at the time, and she had these black lesions on the brain. And the doctor said the only thing we know to give her would be this medicine that she may go blind. And so the parents didn't know what to do. And the granddad said to the son, "Just put the patch on her," and they did. Well, within weeks, that black lesions healed. Right. And then her cognitive ability began to just elevate. And he showed me the most amazing picture of her counting to 20, being at 3 years of age, running around like just a child, like you wouldn't know anything was wrong with her. And when I heard that, I said, "You know what, Spencer, put that patch on Liliana. Just put it on her back. This patch will work up to 6 inches off the body. It will actually work. You can stick it on your clothing. It will work on the clothing." So we said, put it on her back of her clothing. She wouldn't even know it's there. And he said within minutes, she got down and stopped crying, started smiling. Next day, she's at the therapist. The therapist said, "Hey, what's with Liliana? How is it that now she's focused?" And then later, she's continued to improve since then. Now, a year later, she'll look at me, she'll smile, she'll hug me, and she's not fully verbal as she said, "Mom," but to the amazement of all the therapists, We have seen amazing things come about from Liliana. And anytime we get this patch on a child on the spectrum, anytime, the first thing parents will tell us, hey, my child's focused. So that I could go on with Parkinson's. We've seen amazing. We had a gentleman in South Africa who, after 2 years, his whole life had slid down, couldn't ride a motorcycle, couldn't hold his head right, couldn't ride a horse any longer, all these things. And within 3 weeks, we had him on a Zoom saying, man, I feel so much better. And then just recently, his wife shot a picture of him showing him water skiing. I mean, come on. And so if you got family with dementia, I'm not promising you anything. I'm just saying the things we've seen, right? We don't claim anything. Your doctors are your doctor. That's who you're going to talk to. So there is no product claims right now, nor are there income claims. I'm just an excited somebody who's seen a lot of things, and I want to tell people about this patch because who knows what's going to happen, but we know it's light therapy, so there's no side effects. It doesn't matter. There's no contraindication on any kind of medications, which is awesome. And so it's just spectacular. The only time you don't want to wear the patch is when you're on going through chemotherapy, not radiation chemotherapy, because chemotherapy is looking for the most active cells. If you start activating your stem cells, now you got cancer cells and active stem cells, and that leukemia is going to probably look for both. And but we've seen people who've had cancer after put this patch on, and they heal so rapidly, and they get their life back so more quick. Their hair grow back, their energy is spectacular. Well, I could go on and on and on and on, and so I hope you're getting the flavor, and I hope that you're starting to think about people that you love and care about, because that's what usually happens on a call like this, and that's what happened for me when my friend Joyce told me about this patch. I began to think about the people I love and care about, and maybe how I might be able to bring hope to them. And also, I thought about myself, but I already was in good shape. I do intermittent fasting. I just turned 60, which is, I don't like that word. I'm 21 for the 40th time. Do the math because I turned 21 the first time, so 40, that's 60. And, and so I bought these patches. I said, listen, I already do intermittent fasting. I do CrossFit. I got a pretty clean diet. I feel pretty good. I'll buy these for preventive maintenance and maybe help me in the future, not knowing what the heck I really was putting on me at the time. And, because I've thought, hey, my intermittent fasting, my CrossFit, my diet, none of that turns on my dormant stem cells. I'll take a new dimension of healing and opportunity and blessing for me. So, and that's what happened. But I'll tell you what also happened is when my friend Joyce called me to share about this amazing technology, she also told me that there was this these distributors, Stephen Gina Merritt, who had recently come aboard the company. And in 23 days, they hit the highest rank in the business, like 25 grand a week type of thing. In 23 days, it usually took 4 years to do, and they were going to implement a process we could follow to maybe help us succeed similarly, like they did too. And Joyce didn't know at the time that I was under extreme pressure because prior to COVID, I could have sold my company and probably retired. But then after COVID, the advertising industry changed, and now I was gonna have to reinvent my company, which is like creating a whole other company. And so all the money we had poured in the company that we were looking to get back for our retirement was now all crushed down. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a fool I was. I should have sold the company. But I didn't see COVID coming. And so after that, now we're in a new world of advertising. I was under extreme pressure and I was regretting the fact we didn't sell it. And I was feeling the pain looking at my buddies who are now retiring, who are police officers and firefighters. I'm like, gosh, maybe I should have done that 30 years earlier, and it was a lot of pressure. And when she said, hey, that there's an opportunity that comes with this, I didn't say anything to her because I like to keep that close to my vest. But I'm so glad she told that to me because I thought, what's just the chance? What's the chance I might be able to get out, opportunity to that as well? And so, so that's pretty much kind of what we did. And so let me go forward here because what I want to do is I want to kind of begin to share with you a couple things. We're going to share, how much the patches are and how you can get them just to wear them. You don't have to sell anything, by the way. You can just get them and wear them at a wholesale rate. We're going to show you that. But I'm also going to talk to you about also that if you decide that you want to plug into something that maybe you're financially under pressure, that maybe you'd like to see a way that you could maybe begin to kick back on this stupid thing called inflation that 3 years ago, my kids could have bought a $250,000 house here in Florida, a 322. That same house is over $500,000. Same tile floor, same windows. It's crazy. right? And so we have an opportunity, and everything costs more. Car repairs cost more. Hotel stays cost more. Flight airfare seems to cost more. Everything just costs more, and it's kind of crazy. And so we have an opportunity, should you decide to participate, that can potentially alter your financial future. For us, it took the next 10, 20 years of our work life and collapse it into 12, 24, months of our life. And I'll share that in a second. And so, and what happened is when I saw this system that Stephen G. and Merritt implemented, I said, this is awesome. I mean, I can stay busy, still working my 60 to 80-hour work weeks, running my advertising company, not having time for anything else, but I can plug into this system, begin to share these patches, and begin to potentially accumulate residual income. And that's what we did. And part of the process is this website right here. This is at info.com. This is a landing page. And what this does is this takes the burden off me and you from having to be the salesman about this patch to our friends and family. So when we're excited about the patch, we have a way to share the patch with somebody. Hey, you familiar with this? No, what is it? Well, it's a stem cell reactivation patch. Works all light in the body. Did this for my wife, for my autistic granddaughter, for my dad, and help me. Is this something you'd like to learn more about for you? Yeah, good. I'm going to text you a link right here. This is at info.com. Has all the patents, the studies. There's doctors on there. There's testimonies on there. Anything you want to know about this patch is on there. And oh, by the way, there's an amazing Zoom going on tonight, because there is almost every night of the week, our times during the day, we have Zooms going on that we can point eyeballs to, so I can have that conversation, send a link, invite them to an event, and then get back to my working in my day. So I could pepper that throughout the day in inviting people that. And also I just share one patch with people I tell them, hey, listen, 1 in 8 people are one patch wonder, and you may be, what would you like me to share them with you? So it was pretty amazing that we got to, have a simplified process that allowed me to stay working, running my advertising company. But now I had a new bounce in my step when I got up in the morning, because I was excited about this patch. As I was going through my workday, doing my, selling ads and running my advertising company, I also had this new little excitement that I want to share with people, like a really great restaurant or a great movie. This was more powerful. And so I was able to pepper that through the day, point people eyeballs and Zooms at night. And then out of that, I remember within 90 days, we enrolled like 60 people to try these patches. My wife and I go on a cruise for 2 weeks to Hawaii and the Bora Bora. We were away from civilization. I mean, 4 days it took to go from Hawaii down to Bora Bora on a ship. You're nowhereville. And they're saying, hey, right now the depth is 15,000 feet. Don't tell me that, but we came back $2,500 richer. And it wasn't so much the money, because I already made good money running my advertising company. It was the fact that I did not put my foot on the gas to make that money. It was from the collective efforts of other people who are now wearing a patch, some who are getting excited, and they were calling their friends and families like, hey, you got to get these patches too. And out of those purchases being made, we were getting the benefit. And so we started basically a word of mouth team, a left and a right team. And that's how this thing works. And as that thing began to accumulate, our income did too. And I remember within 11 months, we had the highest rank in this business while I was still working full time. And 11 months after that, we were making four times what we were paying ourselves in our 6-figure year income that we were paying ourselves out of our company, 4 times that. And now we had a new opportunity on life. I could put the company up for sale. I could sell it, pay all my team, and then take another look at life in a whole nother light. And thanks to this light therapy, no pun intended. And as part of why we're on this call tonight, that maybe, just maybe, that appeals to some of you on this call. Maybe not all. Maybe some you just want to do more research, or maybe you just want to, get some patches. We'll show you that in a minute. But this website is a powerful tool that takes the burden off you having to be a salesperson. And on that website, you have all these testimonials also on here: neuropathy, children, back, spine, sleep, bladder improvement, dental improvement, heart, weight loss, increased stability, migraines, gluten intolerances, neurological disorders, energy, stroke, hearing. I mean, what does the body need? It needs healing. Where are you at? Where are some of your family and friends at? Well, you'll see that on that site. And I told you, this meteoric growth that this company had, and they take. And remember, they're going to hit 1 billion this year. I mean, no problem. They went from 20 million to 600 million. They're on the way to hit 1 billion. One of the fast growing companies in this space in the world. 60% of that revenue, 60% goes back to me and you and my kids who are sharing this. I got all my kids sharing this, this product. Some better than others, but the joy to be able to see them putting a dent in their bills, thanks to that. And then the joy they get to see from changing lives. You know, the best way to make money is with integrity. And what integrity says is that you matter more than money. We're calling our friends and family because we know we found something. We're not calling to sell something. And neither would you, right? Because you have integrity. And this company backs our own good name, my name, your name. And that's really awesome. And so there's a couple here, Steve and Gina Merritt. And this is one of their first events they had. And the CEO on the left and the president of the company had to come down to check this out because at that time, 18-year history, they'd never seen a team grow as fast as this team. So they had to come down to see their first convention. We had 1,800 people at that thing underneath the sweltering hot tent for 2 days. But we were so lit, so excited, we couldn't stand it, you know. And so that's why we were there. And so this team, which started with just Steve and Gina Merritt 34 months ago, has now grown to almost 500,000 people. It's the fastest growing team in the world. There's no team that has grown that fast. And it just happens to be inside of LifeWave. It's the fast growing, obviously the fast growing team in LifeWave itself. And now our team constitutes over half the sales of all the X39 product as well worldwide. And so why? Because we have a simplified system. I shared part of it with you. And so what this is going to do for you, that should you begin to share this after you wear it, believe it, and want to be, and they bring hope to people, then the resources that's going to happen for you are going to be able to check these boxes here, as it did for me and my wife. We were able to pay our house off, right? Become debt free and begin to accumulate the ability to provide and to give. And now we get to live on less than 20% of our income and take the other 80% for charitable giving, for investing, and for taxation purposes. Recently, we bought 90 acres in Malawi, Africa, and gave it to a ministry that's doing amazing things in one of the most poorest nations in the world. And so we're excited. And we're excited. We want to make a whole lot more money because we give a lot, and we want to invest more to be able to give a lot. And, you know, what are you thinking about? What would you like to do? You know, would you like to travel more and not have to worry about a big credit card bill? Do you have student loan debt still sitting out years later? Do you have to put kids through college yet? And think about, how about, do you have to marry off some of your daughters, right? You got to foot the bill of a wedding. I've been there, right? And what's pressuring you? Where could you use some hope? And because if there's no promises, but if you decide to partner with us and our team and our system, then we're going to help you quickly learn how to be excited to share this patch and begin to reap the rewards financially from sharing it as you continue to keep what we say your priorities in order: God, your family, your work, and then this. Don't change that order. And it all starts here. It's very simple. There's many ways. There's 5 different ways this company pays us, but this is the second way, and it's amazing. And it's where the residual power begins to kick in. It starts from you starting with 2 friends on your left and 2 friends on your right. You're going to start a left and right team. That's known as a binary system. And in a binary, it's not a pyramid. Pyramids are illegal. Alrighty. A binary is a solid structure that gives health to the company and allows people that you have enrolled after you to make more money than you. Even though right now, currently my wife and I make 7 figures, we have 4 other people on our team who make more than me, who came in after me on my team. And one of our dear friends also on another part of my team, we enrolled him. And within 14 months, he's able to fire his high-pressured corporate job, making 6 figures, replace that, now making almost 4 times that, and having just the most wonderful, a much better life, high-quality life. And this is what we're talking about. Listen, just $200 a week makes a difference. If you walked along and found a $100 bill one day and then a $100 bill the next day, and boom, you're going to feel a little better. So, but it starts with 2 people, with 2 on your left, 2 on your right, and you purchase what they call a 6-pack or a 20-pack, and I'll show that in a minute, and your friends purchase a 3-pack or above, then boom, you're now what they call a manager. You're not going to manage anything. It's just a position they play. That's going to open you up to start making team commission. That's going to open you up to the first cap. It caps at $1,500 a week. I mean, that's not bad, right, as a cap? But as you continue to basically take this foreplay, if you will, and begin to duplicate that on your team, where new people are coming in underneath you, you've been sponsored, they get excited, they call their family and friends, and then they go 2 left, 2 right, and then you do that again on the other side, and you begin to replicate this, then your team commission is going to get bigger. And as you're still busy working your full-time gig, you can see how this thing begins to multiply because word of mouth is going to take it. And as the team commission gets bigger, that can take you all the way to $25,000 a week. That's $1.3 million a year, and which is crazy. You know, but that's not you or me doing it. That's the power of the patch, the power of word of mouth, and the power of being plugged into a great team and a system to make it easy for you to stay in the balance of life to get this thing done. Well, if 1.3 million wasn't enough, I'm not trying to be funny, but it is kind of crazy. Here's the unlimited way we make money. You enroll a friend, you're going to get 25% of what a bonus on top of whatever they're making for the week. And that friend enrolls somebody, that's your second generation. You're going to get 20% of whoever that person is. And whoever that person is enrolls somebody, that's your third generation. And you get a 20%. So if they're all start making 1,000 a week, then that's $250, $200, $200 each week that you're getting as a bonus. So you can see this can get pretty amazing. And so how does this start? Well, as I said earlier, you don't have to share the patches or participate in the comp plan in order to at least get the patches on you and get the miracle going for you and your family. So, and I'll start from the top because this is what we did. We bought a 20 pack. It's on the right here. It's called a premium. It's $17.50. Because I told my friend, I said, what's the biggest batch of stuff we can get? Because I need to get on people. She said, it's this 20 pack. I said, that's it? Nothing bigger? I said, no, that's it. And see, it's also recommended that you wear this 1 month for every 10 years of life. So I figured, well, heck, there's going to be at least almost 12 months for me and my wife. I need 12 of those. That's going to leave me 8 for inventory that I can begin sharing with family and friends. And I wouldn't share like a whole one of these with them. What I do is I break them open and just mail a few to people, just like scattering seeds. But then when someone did want to sign up when I was with them, I had inventory on hand and I'd front them one or two. So, okay, you guys get on this now, and then you can begin sharing it. And then when you get yours in 3 to 5 working days from now, then go ahead and replace those back to me. And so, and that gave ability for people to be able to start wearing the patch and maybe seeing things right away. And many times people would call us saying, I can't believe how good we're feeling or how good we're sleeping. And they're already starting to call their family and friends, and they still hadn't had their patches in the mail box yet. But because we had extra inventory to start this thing going, it accelerated things. And for us, we were in the black within a matter of just a couple of weeks and never looked back. So one of the most powerful ways, if you're a business owner, you understand it's expensive to run a business. You have employees, you have overhead, you have inventory, you have all kinds of stuff, royalties if you have to pay a franchisor. Well, we have none of that. You just have to buy some patches, get started, and then you commit to wearing to 2 of these a month. One for you, one for your loved one, your spouse, right? There's your overhead. My overhead right now to make it, when my wife and I make over $1 million a year right now. This is my overhead. Before I had to do about 80 grand a month to pay my bills for my company. Here I got 199 bucks. That's crazy, right? It's 99 here and 99 there, basically. It's 199 bucks a month for my overhead. And you just come in and what you do is you buy a 20 pack, a 6 pack, or a 3 pack. And to get started, you can only buy those one time. You cannot buy those a second time. And that gets the product to you more cheaply, because if you buy the 20 packs, like $87.50 per sleeve, the retail rate on this is $149. But here we're helping you get it at the wholesale rate. The ongoing rate is going to be $99 after you buy one of these kits. Alrighty. But $87.50 for the 20 pack, $89 for the 6 pack, because it's $535. And then if you buy the 3 pack, now you're limited to $100 a week on buying the 3 pack. And so you don't get paid all the ways it's going to be paid. That's for somebody who just wants to kick the tires. 295 bucks. It's about 98 and change for a sleeve. So you're getting it when you buy these one time at a cheaper rate, and then you just get on your monthly maintenance to continue to progress on your health journey. And so if you're just kicking the tires and buy the 3 pack, that's one for you, one for your loved one, and one to share. Sharing is caring. And then make sure you get on a monthly maintenance so that you can get into 1 month for every 10 years of life and begin to experience. Now, here's the deal. 97% of those who wear this patch for 90 days see results worldwide. And I would tell you realistically, 1 in 8 are a one patch wonder. I'd say, my next probably 60, 70% within several days, multiple weeks. And then the balance definitely within that time frame. But clinically, all these amazing things, your bone density is getting thicker, your heart's getting younger, your gum pockets are starting to fill in. Things you're not feeling are already happening as soon as you start putting on this patch. So this is not an aspirin. So it's important that you give yourself the respect you deserve to wear this long enough so you can really get your body into a state of well-being that this has the ability to bring it to. 1 month for every 10 years of life, right? And so now you have options to get at a wholesale rate to get yourself started. And that's how that goes. Now, I do want to say one more thing here. And as we get ready to wrap this up, is that my wife and I went from 1,000 a day in income to 1,000. She went from 1,000 a week to 1,000 a day of attending an event. and called Next Level. And the next one's in August. It's a Friday night, all day Saturday, and then there's a Sunday service you want to go. And it is, unlike a rah-rah system motivational event, this is different. This is a belief generator where your conviction gets deeper, where you're listening to a 24-year-old and how he's making $1 million a year now out of college thanks to this opportunity. An 82-year-old grandmother out of Puerto Rico who's not a salesperson, why she's doing so well hitting the highest rank. Or you'll listen to Penny Carpenter, 63 years old out of Texas, only 650 people in a ranching town. She hit the highest rank in this business, never been successful. And when you're listening to these nuggets and seeing hope and being with people, it changes your belief. Well, the more people you bring, you can bank on it. And we this thing, then your income's going to go up too. And I remember we had about 60 people come because my team who invited team brought 60 people. And here we have just a statistic where we show, well, if you bring about 75 people, then you make about $6,000 a week more after that event. Well, we brought 60 and we were making $7,000 a week more. So we understand that these things are a reality. So this is something you can talk to the person who invited you if you are in the bucket of number one. Right now, if you just want to get some patches, you can get, to just get started, then pick your option here, get back with a friend who invited you. Or if you just need to do more research, hey, we totally get it. Right? All of us no one commanded us to come on this call tonight. Technically, my wife and I are financially, we're retired, right? We don't have to be on this call. Ken, why are you? Because you can only travel and golf so much. There's a better feeling when you can see lives change. You just feel better. So when you do right by others, life gets righter by you. I know that's a play on words and it's not proper grammar, but English never was my cup of tea. But so it's been an honor, by the way, to be. And I hope you understand we have a lot of fun. And another way I didn't tell you how we get paid are trips. All right. We just got back from Punta Mita. Google it. It's a 5-star resort we were at. It was spectacular. 500 of us. All amazing. Another 550 of us got back not too long ago from an 8-day cruise in the Mediterranean. We flew us out to Italy, jumped on a ship, went to Mykonos and Santorini in Greece, and then up to Split, Croatia. 8 days, absolutely amazing, right? And you're with people, unlike going on a corporate trip when I used to work in corporate America, you're with people, if you like them or not, everybody you like, because they're all positive. They all love people. They have a great work ethic and they have a dream and they're achieving. And they're so fun to be around that such an environment. And they're just a fun crowd, and I mean, Cancun, Aruba we've been to, amazing ways that this company rewards amazing trips. And there's more coming up this year. We would love to travel with you too. And they make it easy to be able to hit the benchmarks for people coming in to make this a reality for you. So that's just another sidebar. And you'll still learn as you begin to peel the layers back on this opportunity, it gets better and better. Our team gets better. This patch gets better. This company and where it's going gets better. The founder, David Schmidt. I mean, it's really once in a lifetime. So, well, once again, God bless you and get back with the person. Let them know what you'd like to do. And I hope to see you soon on the next Zoom. And we have multiple other Zooms going on, but I'd love to be able to see you in person too, particularly at the Next Level event. And but thank you. It's been an honor to be able to share this amazing opportunity with you. And do get back with the person who invited you. And so have just a great, blessed night, everybody. And good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Blessings.